Today is May 29th. Win the first game of the series, lose the next two. Rinse and repeat. Plenty to talk about this week. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins guys, thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and I'm on the phone with Jake, or video, or something. What's up, Jake?
Hey, man. What's up?
Well, it seems like we've got a recipe for May.
I don't like it. Doesn't taste good. I think we need to switch some ingredients here.
I agree. Also, I got to go see Indianapolis 3 times this week.
That's so awesome.
So that was pretty fun. Unfortunately for me, Andy Rodriguez is kind of in a slump. 2 doubles the first night. I talked about that on Friday, but did not fare so well the rest of the series. And Nick Gonzalez was, he was all right. I guess those are the 2 I was most excited about. And then obviously Quinn Priester. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about going to the games and seeing those guys and how they did a little bit. Maybe if there's anybody else that would surprise me here. And then obviously the Pirates, the team that we talk about the most. The Pirates had a series against the Seattle Mariners in Seattle at the house that Junior built.
Unpopular take. I love their City Connects.
Oh, that is unpopular.
I love the royal blue and the black pants. I love it.
Okay.
Moving on.
I don't. Just to throw it out there. I would have loved the blue to keep going.
Sure.
I like the color. Well. I like the color rush. I like the tops and the bottoms being the same. That's just like a thing that I like. And I know a lot of people just hate black pants in the pros. And I even like the yellow tops and black bottoms that the Pirates wear on the throwbacks. So that kind of is different. But to me, the yellow's a light color, the black's a dark color. And what the Mariners are running out there with is like a dark blue, not quite navy, but like a dark blue and a black. And I just don't like it.
I like it a lot. Big fan.
All right. I don't want to talk about it more.
Okay.
Because I have other things, but we don't need to talk about it. And everybody said, "Oh, good." Oh, thank you.
No way, Josh left something unsaid.
Yeah. Thanks. What else do we have? We have so obviously we're going to talk about the Mariners series. Do a little bit of update on a couple of different players. Let's say 3 players. Two players. And then, we'll do a couple updates on some players. And other than that, we just kind of cover the general stuff here. We'll take a look. We'll take a look forward to the series against the Giants.
Yeah.
Probably a good way to start would be to talk about current events in a way. Let's talk about the series here. Let's talk about another series loss, another win game 1, and then lose the series. You've put yourself into a position to win. This is the 4th series this month where we will take game 1 and then lose the other 2. 3rd series in a row. We did it with Arizona. We did it with Texas. And now we've done it with Seattle. 2 of those scoring double digits in runs against Arizona and Seattle. And both of those against like really, really high-end pitching. Young, but high-end, right? Zach Gallen in Arizona. George Kirby with Seattle. Obviously, game 2 was a 5-0, but dude, Luis Castillo is so good. He's the guy. Like, if George Kirby's really good, Castillo's the guy for that team, right?
Yeah.
Zach Gallen is the guy for Arizona, and we got to him.
Mm-hmm.
And really, a little bit of a better offensive showing that series than getting shut out. We hadn't been shut out since the Detroit series, and that was not good.
Right.
So anyway, any takeaways from? Well, let's talk about Keller. We always talk about Keller. I feel like it's important to talk about Keller. And I actually had this pulled up here, pitch by pitch. It was a 1 pitch. So I'm cutting ahead of myself here. I'm jumping ahead because it's a conversation you and I started. So the listeners, you don't really know yet. Yeah, he threw. Oh, here we go. He threw 6 pitches in the 7th inning. Mitch Keller did, which would confirm what I thought. He was at 91. 91 pitches through 6 innings. He'd already given up 4 runs. Why send him out there for the 7th inning at 91 pitches?
Yeah.
You're already...
And he had traffic on the bases in the 6th.
Yeah, and you already had 7, 8, 10 runs. You were winning, at that point, 10-4.
Mm-hmm. Good buddy.
Yep. And to send Keller out there to get a 5-pitch walk and a first pitch 2-run homer.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't seem to make sense to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially when, what did we say? He was in the mid to upper 80s the start before that, and they didn't send him out for the 7th inning, and he'd only given up like 1 or 2 runs.
Right.
I don't really understand it. He'd have been done for me after 6.
Yeah,
and I'm a guy who likes their pitchers to go out and get innings. You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say.
7th. And you've given up 4 runs already, bud.
Yeah, he
way to get out of that 6th. Good job. Go hang your hat on that.
Right. Yeah, it just wasn't there for me. I wouldn't have sent him out there to do that. He ended up getting the W. It's a 10-6 game at that point, and then we end up winning the game 11-6. But 7 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Tying a franchise record. You had home runs from McCutchen to lead off the game. Santana, Sawinski gets 2 of them because that's what he does. Key Bryan hits 1, Marcano hits 1, and Brian Reynolds hits 1. And a couple of those are some droughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just don't understand how you do this. I mean, I understand how you do it. But you go out there against Kirby. Luis Castillo's really good, but you've got to be able to get another game. You've got to be able to come up with something else. These are good. I'm not all that impressed with Gonzalez. I like our lefty lineup. It just didn't show up in this game, in the 3rd game. You expect to get something out of Castro. They kind of really pitched around Castro a little bit. I mean, he had the intentional walk. He had another walk in that one, but ultimately he was 0 for 3 with a strikeout.
Yeah. And his K came left-handed.
That's right. Yep, it did. So really right-handed. Did he have 2 left-handed at bats?
I think just the 1.
Okay. But they were careful with him. And to be honest, like if you're going to play once or twice a week, I can't be hard on you. Like there's one thing to say, okay, he sees lefties well, let's play him against lefties. But if you don't play anything else, there's something to be said about game speed.
Yeah.
My complaint with Castro right now is that he's just not playing enough. And I understand that he doesn't see righties well. Let me just say this. He does not see right-handed pitching well. His left-handed swing, guys, is fine.
Yeah.
He has trouble against righties. He does not have trouble hitting the ball left-handed. I know that they're one and the same, but there is a difference. When switch hitters stop hitting from one side, it's because they have broken mechanics. It's because things aren't looking right. It's because their bat speed's not there. Those sort of things. He doesn't have those problems. He's not seeing the ball. He's behind. He's ahead. He's guessing. I don't know what it is. Obviously, they do, and hopefully that's why he's not playing. I hope that they're working on it, right? That they're constantly doing whatever they need to do so that he can see the ball better and swing at better pitches.
Yeah.
Something like that. But the thing is like, the swing isn't bad. It's just the results. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And for me, I look at that and I'm like, well, then get him some more reps.
Right. And like I said, if they're working on it and they want to wait it out a little bit, I have to be patient here. But if they want to wait it out a little bit, I'm okay with that. If they're working on, I wish they would tell us. He doesn't seem upset. So apparently he's trusting the process of what's going on right now. So let's go ahead and go into, one of our players, one of our player updates here, because I think this relates directly to what's going on with Castro. We've all been hard on Hwan Bae, but all he's done has gone and got himself up to a 275 average.
Yeah.
He's been hitting. Has he not been chasing? Maybe that's it. But taking a look at Hwan Bae, you're looking at the last 7 games, he's hitting 400. The last 15, he's hitting 348 with a 388 on base. His last, guys, I'm still losing my voice. I'm trying to yell, but every once in a while, I'm going to lose it and I'm going to go base like I just did. So bear with me here. I can't figure out what's going on. I haven't really been sick, but I feel like I've almost had a cold. And so I've been taking that cold crush stuff that's supposed to stop it before it comes. And I think it's doing that, but in the process, I'm still losing my voice. I've also been to 4 baseball games this week. And I don't necessarily shut up at baseball games if something big happens. I was trying to be a lot less during yesterday's game, which was pretty easy because I'll get into how Quinn Priester was.
Guys, let me just throw this out there. I called him last night and while he was at the game, and dude had to put the phone away from his ear because he was screaming so loud when the Indians came back and tied the game or whatever.
Yeah, you were on. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't really but it's not only that, but you also going to baseball games means if you're going to talk to people, you're going to have to talk loud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that's all playing a part in this, right? Plus, I never sleep. But anyway, in the last 30 games, Hwan Bae is hitting 309 with a 349 on base. Those are good things. Now, coincidentally, during that time, he's made a lot of bonehead base running mistakes. And so we've been hard on him about that. And his defense hasn't really done anything during this stretch until today.
Mm-hmm.
He has probably his best start that I've seen him play the outfield. No mistakes, no throw into the wrong bases, no over-aggression throwing the ball, which he was doing, trying to throw people out when you really shouldn't.
Yeah.
But on the line drive, he comes in, really good read. Really good read. Play. Tough play on a line drive like that, diving forward. To think about, I saw somebody say, I wonder if Sawinski makes that catch. The answer is no. And Sawinski's a better center fielder than Hwan Bae. In quotes, right? Yes, he's a more consistent center fielder. Yes, he runs better routes. Yes, he has a better arm. But he's not as fast as Hwan Bae. If Sawinski sees that ball off the bat, he's not going to try for it. Because if he did, that would be foolish. Because he's not going to catch it. He's not that fast. He's not that low to the ground. He's not going to make that play. He's going to let that ball bounce and keep the guy on first from getting to third. That's what he should do on that play. This is the thing that Hwan Bae does that makes him intriguing is he has the ability to make that play.
Yeah.
And he went and made it. Now, this is a benefit of the doubt thing. He moved on contact. It was quick. If that ball would have been different and it would have carried on him, we probably would be talking about a mistake that he made because he did. But benefit of the doubt, let's say he got a good read because we have nothing to say that he wouldn't have. So I like to give credit when the play's made. And the play's made. Saying, well, he just probably ran because he's over aggressive. That doesn't help anyone here. Benefit of the doubt. That's a great read. It was a great play. It really was. To the point where you even said, which one was better?
Yeah. Yeah, the ball that he ran back on versus that ball right at it. I mean, a line drive right at you, especially in center field, but really in any three positions. Ball hit right at you. It's tough to read on a line.
Yeah.
He broke right away, like you said, made a nice catch. That ball that was hit over his head, checking for the wall, all that, like he did everything right. And the ball sliced on him a little bit, and that happens every once in a while in center field. Most of the time, you know exactly where the ball is going to get. Like we were talking about earlier, it's always going to go away from you in center field.
Yeah, center fielder,
with a few exceptions.
Yeah, I played center, and one of the things that's difficult about center field, the reason that you want fast guys in center field is typically, whether it's a lefty slicing or pulling, or the same thing with the righty, the ball typically always goes away from center fielders. So you're always running them down, which is why speed is important in center field. But occasionally...
Yeah, if you slice the diamond in half, right up the middle, the ball always goes towards the foul lines.
That's the way it goes, because that's the way the spin's going to go. But every once in a while, somebody's going to inside out something. And for Hwan Bae, the one thing that we've had a problem with is on his routes, they've been that they go two different directions or three, right? And he has to correct. Or really two, because he goes one way and then he has to correct. And it would appear that, if you're just watching that play, because he had to reach behind him, it would appear that like, oh, well, he didn't go to where it was going. But like we said, really difficult play. The ball, when he broke, he went to a spot. And that ball broke a different direction. And he was able to adjust and make the play. An unbelievable catch to cover up for that. But I don't think it was to cover up for a mistake. In this particular scenario, he's going very fast. A lot of guys aren't even getting to this ball. He looks to check for the wall, which is another thing that makes it very difficult play.
Yeah.
And then when he gets back up, it's behind him. He cannot correct himself at that point. It's throw the glove up there and see if you can make a play. And that part of the play alone was really great. But I don't want to take away from the other part. It was also the closing speed to get to that ball in the first place in the ninth inning, plus play. Way better than the play he made in Boston because of the fact that he did things right. Where in Boston, he ran all around and then had to jump last minute. He should have been camping and then jumping in Boston. Or at least slowing down to time his jump. Either way, we've said this before, he makes up for stuff because of his athleticism. And he did that again, even though he really did everything. Now, catch of the year? No, pump the brakes. Like if you rob somebody of a home run, even on a ball that you've timed, like Sawinski's rob of Mookie Betts was better because he robbed a home run.
Right.
So I get it. Like I know that we want to say catch of the year. It's not catch. It's a fantastic catch. It's not going to be a catch of the year. There's already been better.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that to take anything away from it. It's just, like let's not get too far.
Could be his catch of the year.
Oh, it's his catch of the year. It's his catch of the year so far.
Yeah, so far.
I like it better than the one.
Could be.
Oh, I see. Like in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying that it's not even the catch of the year, right? Like there's already been better catches.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But for him, I think it's his best catch so far, for sure. I think probably the best catch. I mean, I know I just said this, the Sawinski rob, but like the degree of difficulty on the Sawinski rob was less. He went straight to where it was going to go. He timed it perfectly. It was textbook. And you know what I mean? It was still a rob of a 3-run home run.
Right.
So that makes it great. But Hwan Bae's was in the 9th inning. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I think Bae's probably does top that. So maybe if you're saying catch of the year for the Pirates, then maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's been the best catch. But either way, very, very good catch. So the fact that this guy's out there, he's getting better defensively. I think that getting him out on the bases might actually be good for him. You know what I mean? Hey, I can't just run whenever I want.
Right.
A little bit of discipline. But Hwan Bae is playing well.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's playing into the Castro not playing, it's hard to argue right now. Bae was well worse than Castro offensively and has worked his way all the way back up to a 275 average with 329 on base. It's getting there. Yeah. It's getting there. So it's kind of hard to argue with it. Hwan Bae, kudos to you, man. And this is what we said could happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
He's done a good job to offensively get himself back to where he needs to be. And I know that we've been complaining a lot, but I think we should recognize that there are parts of his game that are getting better, while there are parts that still frustrate us. There are parts that are getting better, and that's going to continue for these 23-year-old players. It seems like we have 17 23-year-olds on this roster.
Yeah.
So anyway, keep moving on. Let's briefly talk about Ke'Bryan Hayes, because that seems to be the other topic right now. I'm on record saying this guy's doing everything right and not getting hits. But that's changed.
Yeah.
When I did the deep dive, he was at a 12% strikeout rate. He's now over 15%. 4 of them today. Am I upset about him with the bases loaded? I mean, you'd like him to come through, but I guarantee you the league as a whole gets out in that situation more than they get a hit. So it's kind of hard to say Ke'Bryan blew that for us when you had Connor Joe strike out with a guy on third, nobody out. Jack Sawinski struck out with a guy on second and third with 1 out. And then Ke'Bryan, you're giving him the hardest at bat.
Right.
And that pitch to strike him out was nasty.
Yeah.
Not to say that.
And definitely not going to be upset with Ke'Bryan Hayes on striking out on that last pitch. If I'm going to be frustrated with him, it's taking that first pitch down the middle. Like, it was belt high, center of the plate.
Sure.
I'd rather you fly out to center field or left center field deep to end the game, or not end the game, but end the inning, than take that very hittable pitch. Even though it's 0-0, I mean, that's my only thing. Like, I want you going to the plate wanting to hit the ball. I'm looking for something center cut that I can drive. You're not doing that if you get a first pitch center cut. I don't think it was a fastball. I think it was a little bit of a break. I think it was a slider. But still, it's still center cut. I'm sorry. You're a major league hitter, and I'm looking for a center cut pitch. I'm not just hunting a fastball.
Yeah, and that's going to come back.
A hanging slider is a hanging slider.
That's going to come down to philosophy. It's going to come down to what Andy Haynes is telling them to do. That's their game plan. Whatever their game plan is against that pitcher. Obviously, we don't know those things. So, what Jake's saying is what he would be doing. If that's not what Key's doing, that's a different story. However, once you're behind, you're making it more difficult because the position that he's in is not a good one. You got bases loaded, sure. But there's 2 outs. You have to get a hit. And even when he was going good, hitting the ball doesn't mean you're getting a hit.
Right.
But Connor Joe could have grounded out and we would have had the lead.
Right.
Jack Sawinski could have hit a fly ball and we would have had the lead.
Yeah.
So to me, you just can't strike out with 1 and 2 outs. A strikeout with 2 outs, with nobody out and 1 out.
Yeah.
You can't with 2 outs, like a strikeout's the same thing as a flyout's the same thing as a ground ball. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
Kind of.
You just got out. No, you just got out. There's no way he didn't come through.
Result's fine. Result after the fact is fine. You just putting the ball in play, it's just more room for error on the other team. And that's the thing for me. It's not about whether the ground out or the fly out is the same as the strikeout. It's the possibilities within a ground out and the possibilities with a fly out.
Yeah, obviously I'm speaking from hindsight, and but that's a good call out there. It's a good call out there. Ahead of time, that you're still saying, I want to put the ball in play.
Right.
I'm saying, did it cost us the game? Well, no, because any out is just an out there. Where the 2 hitters in front of him, Castro got walked right in front of him, but the 2 before that, those guys had an opportunity to get out and still take the lead. Right. You cannot strike out in those times. Where in Key Brian's case, it's like you have to get a hit. You can't get out. You're kind of up against the wall there.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying, but at the same time, it's not that the last thing is strikeout. Like Connor Joe could have hit into a double play and we would have still taken the lead.
Right.
Like sometimes, so when you get to Sawinski, it's like, I don't care if you just don't hit into a double play. You can't hit into a double play. You can strike out before you hit into a double play. Of course, once Reynolds is his second, which he was with Sawinski up, when Reynolds is his second, that's no longer a thing either. Now it's just you cannot, at all costs, you cannot strike out. We probably take the lead if you don't strike out.
Right.
And asking somebody like Sawinski against the lefty who has a problem with striking out, it's probably not like, I think we all would have thought, well, the chances of him getting a hit here are pretty slim. To me, it's Connor Joe. Connor Joe has to come through right there. There's nobody out. There's a guy on third. Everything's set up for us to take the lead here.
Right.
He set the table for everything. Once Reynolds hit Kutch to third, like, this is where we're at. We've got to score.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, hitting's hard. You're not going to get hit every time you need to get a hit. This team's not getting a hit hardly ever when they need to get a hit, but it's still, I'm trying to be extra nice here. Let's just say it's more on Connor Joe than it is on Key Brian Hayes. The thing that frustrates me about Hayes is it's 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts in the total game, in the total scheme of things. That's what's getting worse with him. And I don't know if he's so frustrated from how good he was hitting and not getting results, and it's now hurting him because he's so frustrated about it. I don't know. But either way, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what has to happen, but change your approach. Do something. At least now it's your fault.
Yeah.
And not just bad luck. You know what I mean? I still think ultimately, I think Key Brian's fine. I think the problem is that everybody wants to expect a middle of the order guy because we signed him to an extension. Guys, we're not paying him that much money.
Right.
It's just a long-term contract. He never makes more than $10 million a year. $10 million with his defense. If he hits you 230 with an on base of 320, he's pretty much making up for his contract.
Right.
And the whole time he was coming up through the minors, what did you expect? Did you expect him to hit 300 and hit 30 homers? Like, no, nobody did. Give me 10 to 12 homers, get on base at like 330, and you're an all-star. Because of your defense. Because it's so good. You're the best fielder in the game that if you can get on base at like 330, you're an all-star.
Yeah.
You still might not win a gold glove.
I was high on him coming out of spring training. Sure.
Yeah. And you know what? He answered that. He hit the ball hard. He was still hitting the ball hard. He was unlucky, but now I think it's gotten too far. And I don't want to take that much time. I don't want to spend any more time on it. But the thing is like, because I was on record saying it's going to get better and it's gotten worse, I also want to be on record saying, sure, but he's not holding up his end of the deal here. He's gotten worse. And so it's worth calling that out. It's worth calling that out. All right, we're about halfway there, Jake. Let's talk about some injuries here. And this is going to be like it's going to be a little push here in a way, because there's 3 players, possibly 4 players that we're going to talk about that are all just based around this one topic.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Velasquez comes back off the IL. In the process of that happening, Roansy Contreras gets bumped to the bullpen. Now, I kind of like this in a way that they've said he's still long-term a starter. And also, he's still good enough to be here.
Yeah.
Would you rather him still be on the staff pitching or us keeping Dwayne Underwood Jr. and sending Roansy down? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
we're beyond the point of sending him down, and I love that. So last year, we did the short stint with Keller. Couple relief outings. He's back in the rotation. He added a pitch. In this case, I think Roansy needs to fix some things.
Mm-hmm.
And so they tell him he's going to pitch out of the bullpen a little bit. Now back to Vince Velasquez. This is very unfortunate. What, he pitched 2 innings? Did he get out of the second inning?
I think he pitched 2 full innings.
2 full innings, 4 runs, 7 hits, 3 strikeouts, a walk, and it's the elbow again. Apparently they're going to take it slower this time. They still don't think it's like a surgery type thing, but it's not good.
Anytime you have elbow discomfort, it's not good.
It's not
no matter
good.
how serious they think it is.
Yeah.
It's just not a good thing for a pitcher to have to rehab and do anything for an elbow. It's just, it sucks. That's like elbow and shoulder. You just don't want to mess around with when that is why you're making money. Forearms are usually those usually go away. And then you take time off for the forearm because you don't want what's going on in your forearm to make it to the elbow. Unfortunately, his might have. Because wasn't he out for forearm?
He was out for right elbow discomfort. It's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is just exactly what...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's exactly what he went in for. It's the same thing. It's basically re-aggravated. So at this point, they're just going to take extra time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a while. So then back to Roansy. He's going to go right back into the rotation. Cody Bolton was called up in this place. But Roansy will be back in the rotation at this point. He still did throw today. Well, that's because he hasn't thrown since May 21st in a game. So they're likely going to get him up to speed. He's still not going to pitch till Friday at the earliest, right? Because we already know who our starters are for the San Francisco series. We got Thursday off. So the earliest he can pitch is Friday. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him in a game tomorrow. If he's going to throw a couple innings and then he's going to take, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then maybe go, or maybe not. Maybe he just gets 4 days off. He only threw 2 innings, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he threw 2 innings, so maybe they just give him the full rest and put him in the rotation for Friday. Maybe he pitches Saturday and he does pitch an inning tomorrow. I mean, I don't know what their plans are right now, but because if their plan is they want to see him throw out of the bullpen because he's working on something, then they might be more motivated to push him to Saturday and see him in the bullpen another game.
Yeah, which they could.
I don't know. But either way, now I'm sure this isn't like the magical thing that happened to Keller. I mean, Keller obviously added a pitch and got a feel for it really quickly and stuff like that. I think for Roansy, it's a different thing. His fastball just isn't as effective right now, partially because maybe it's not a strike every time, or it's the fact that his velocity is just down.
Yeah.
He did throw hard today. I don't know if that means anything. We'll see. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna jump in there.
Yeah, time will tell.
Yep, we'll see. And in the same vein, Carlos Santana left the game today with what they wrote or what they said is lumbar spine tightness. Lumbar spine tightness. He's got a back injury. That's not a good thing. He's probably going to the injured list. They may ride it a couple days to see what kind of decision they're going to make.
I think that's almost a guarantee.
But yeah, I would think so. With the fact that he's 37 years old, 38, whatever he is, he seems headed that way. They may not make a call on that, is what I'm saying, right away.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's almost a guarantee they're going to try to ride this out for a couple of days before they make a call.
But AAA and I would assume AA is pretty much on the same schedule. Monday is their day off. Mm-hmm. They play Tuesday through Sunday, with Monday being a day off. With that said, I would expect an announcement, you know what I'm saying? I would expect an announcement after the game tomorrow, not before. They probably just go short a guy. They're on the West Coast right now. So no matter what they do, they're trying to hurry somebody there if they're trying to do something like that. My guess is they'll sleep on it tonight. They'll figure all that stuff out in the morning. You won't hear anything till tomorrow. That's my guess. I wouldn't be surprised if something changes on that, but that's my guess. They'll see how he's doing in the morning. Yeah. So with that said, who's your guy? And I'm going to tell you who my guy is. So maybe I'll just jump in and tell you that, and then we can talk about it.
You go for that one.
I just went and saw Indy play 3 times this week because you talked me into going Friday, and I did. Mm-hmm. I was impressed with one guy in particular that I didn't expect to be impressed with, and that's Aaron Shackelford. Now, he even played second on Friday night, and he was back at second today. Made a nice play today. I didn't go to today's game. But wait, he played second. He might have played second both nights. Now I don't remember. But he might have played second both nights, both Friday and Saturday. Either way, I just can't remember. Thursday night, I was not at the game, and he had 2 home runs. And then Friday night, I was there. He had a home run. Saturday night, I was there. He had a home run. You have 4 home runs in 3 days. I mean, the dude looks good. Why don't I still? I'm like, as I'm saying this, I'm looking for the page that I had pulled up with this dude, and now it's not there. Like, come on, man. Why'd you close out of that tab? Here's my case. Here's why I think Shackelford. Not because I think, hey, this guy's been grinding. He's had great years. He had 22 home runs in 21. He hit 26 home runs in 22 as he kept climbing the levels. Those things are true. However, he's 25. He's 26 years old. He'll be 27 when this season's over.
Yeah.
He's a little dude, but he's enormous at the same time. Like, the guy works
nails for breakfast.
He works out, okay? He works out. There were some hecklers in Columbus this week. Not actually Saturday. Saturday was actually, the weekend crowd is a little bit different. They had Star Wars fireworks. It was their record for the season. 10,000 plus people there. It was a packed house. But like, all the hecklers had thing to say. Ryan Valade's jersey's way too tight. I made a comment on how tight it was. The next time I went to the game, there was a heckler making a comment saying that he was wearing Vinny Capra's jersey, who's like 5'8", 160. And it definitely was hilarious. But he had something to say about everybody, telling Kanan Smith and Jigba that his brother's better, and then he hit one out of the stadium. I say out of the stadium, but like, there's nothing in right field past the fence. Right. Like, there's like a party deck that goes up. It's pretty high, but it's only like 326, right? So it's still a shot to hit it over that. It's a home run everywhere, but still, like, you get it over that,
it's a bomb.
Smith and Jigba, both of his home runs were over that. Every home run that Shackelford hit was over that. Cal Mitchell's was to the left of it, but it would have been over it. Right. So like they're all over it. It's not like it's like it was, whatever. He did crush it. And then gave a little OH when he scored.
It's great.
Yeah. Now, he probably did that because he worked out in Columbus in the offseason and he had a bunch of people there that were there to see him. It probably wasn't an in-your-face type moment. But he gained some respect. Anyway, the only thing they could say about Shackelford was, what kind of steroids do you take? So it was like, yeah. And matter of fact, the one heckler that was there the first night, he struck out and he looked very mad about striking out. And as he was walking off the field, I was kind of looking over and the guy said nothing. And after he got in the dugout, he was like, nah, you look too mad. He's like, I'm not going to say anything to him.
That's hilarious.
It was pretty funny. Anyway, he looks good right now.
Yeah.
268, 405, 537. He's got a 942 OPS. Those 4 home runs doubled his season. So he's at 8 home runs right now. He's got 7 doubles and a triple to go along with it. He strikes out. You know what I'm saying? He strikes out. But he's he's a short first baseman, but he's a first baseman. I mean, he's not any different than Chavis being over there.
Right.
So the thing is, and when I say he strikes out, I think it's like a 27% clip. So in AAA, I mean, he's bound to be over 30 in the pros. But you just never know. The thing is with him being 26 years old, with him having like for real power potential, why not?
Right.
Why not call up Aaron Shackelford if he doesn't work out and Santana spends a couple weeks on the IL? Santana comes back. Technically you could just send him down because you've got the 40-man spot for it.
Right.
But you send him down. And then if push comes to shove and you have to DFA him, you DFA him. He's 26 years old and it didn't work. That's it.
Right.
But it's better than, help me out with the Nunez. Nunez just went on the injured list. 7-day injured list. I don't know. I actually didn't see why, but he just went on the injured list. Not that he's doing great anyway. But he's also 22 years old. There's no point in bringing him up at this point. Mason Martin is still 23, and the success that he has, which is very similar to what Shackelford's doing, a little bit more strikeouts, but a little bit more walks. Same amount of home runs. But Mason Martin's only 23. If Mason Martin, which we know the power's there, nobody's talking about him right now because the strikeouts are also there.
Mm-hmm.
But if Mason Martin is ever going to click, and you know what they say, power comes late.
Yep.
If you're a power hitter, sometimes you develop late. So if he's going to happen, why do it now? He's only 23.
Yep.
Let him keep working on it. When he's 25, maybe something clicks and Mason Martin actually does turn out to be a player. Maybe he doesn't. But for Aaron Shackelford, now's the time.
Yeah.
Just see.
I'm with you 100%.
Just see what he's got. It doesn't hurt. There's a potential right now, if you bring him up when he's hot, that this guy actually contributes to a little bit of power at that level.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, not the answer.
Is he a righty or lefty?
He throws right-handed, but he bats left. I mean, the guy's played more second base this year than he has first base. He's DH'd quite a bit. But the fact is, like, he's even playing second base.
Right.
So there's a little bit of versatility there. What does he play? I mean, in the minors alone, he's played first, second, third, right field, and DH. Most at first base. But just this season, 3 games at third, 7 at DH, 19 at second, and 11 at first. And he made an error the other night at second base. So it looks like he's probably not an option at second. Looks like he's made 5 errors at second. So probably not really an option there.
Yeah.
But he could in a pinch. He's been playing it. 19 games, 158 innings already this year at second base. So, never know. Bring up Aaron Shackelford. That's my guy to bring up. Cal Mitchell doesn't play first base. Kanan Smith-Njigba doesn't play first base. They've got mixed results anyway. They're already on the 40-man. You need a first baseman, not a catcher. So Andy Rodriguez, who's in the middle of a pretty bad slump right now. I mean, he got 2 doubles the first night I was there, and I don't think he got a hit the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So he's not... You know, when you're just watching, this was my first chance watching Andy Rodriguez. Let me talk about the guys that I did get to watch now. My first chance seeing Andy Rodriguez, I was super excited going into Tuesday. I knew what the average was. I knew that he had a little injury and that he was kind of whatever. He still looked good. All his at-bats were good. He hit the 2 doubles. It was great. I was like, yeah, he's going to be fine. And then I watched him struggle in the other 2. He wouldn't play Friday night, or Saturday night, so I watched him Friday night. 0 for 5. He hit the ball all right, though. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where it was still like, yeah, but it wasn't like, he wasn't a guy where you were saying like he needs to just be called up right now. He didn't come off that way. But he seemed like he was okay. He was fine. Watching him though, like you just got a feeling. You're watching a team full of AAA guys, and some of the guys you look at, you're like, he's a big leaguer. Yeah. It just looks different, right? He does. Even then, even with the struggle, even though you could see it, he does look different, man. He looks different than some of those guys. You watch Vinny Capra, you watch even Ryan Valade, and you're just like, yeah, it's just maybe not there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You watch Smith-Njigba, you watch Cal Mitchell, the guys who've been in the big leagues, and you're like, they look different. And they do. They look like they're better than the other guys that are around them. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you who doesn't look like that. And I know this is not going to be like a great thing for a lot of people to hear, but Jared Triolo does not look like that. He just didn't look like it. Even fielding balls and throwing them to first, it just looked like it was like, maybe he'll make the play. The guy's won a Gold Glove. He gets it done. So this is me watching him for 3 games. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I saw him play third one game and short the other 2 games. And it just it wasn't smooth. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I was watching, like, because he's a tall guy. He didn't look anything like I was watching Jordy Mercer or anything out there. You know what I mean? It's not a clear and convincing, like, this dude's legit. Yeah. Matter of fact, Reynel Delgado for Columbus, that dude can glove it. I mean, he can't hit. He can't hit at all. But that dude can glove it. He made some exceptional plays. The routine plays, he made them look routine. Yeah. He's just smooth. You know what I'm saying? Just didn't say. Triolo's best thing was he didn't chase. He still swung and missed at everything he swung at just about. But he got walked 3 times in one night. He was 0 for 2 with 3 walks. And you know what I'm saying? So, like, whatever. He's on base. That's good. He's not hitting the ball hard. And fielding wise, I was surprised. I really thought that I was going to be like, yeah, but look at this. And I didn't see that. Yeah. It didn't look, it wasn't smooth to me. Sure. I saw Nick Gonzalez play twice. He played third base both games. I'm not sure what the deal is there. His swing is ridiculous. It's violent. It's fast. But he also wasn't getting a lot of luck. He hit 2 balls very hard that were outs, like deep fly balls, but they're just fly balls. Yeah. So there's still a little bit there that he's got to do. He did get the hit to tie the game. But it was like a broken bat single. I imagine if the bat didn't break, maybe he would have just been out. But he still looked a little different. Now, he's short. It wasn't like Andy. He's like a little dude. If he makes it, dude, I think it's going to be like, wow, this dude's little, but he made it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So last but not least, Quinn Priester. Man, was it a tough outing for Quinn Priester. Yeah. He did not get out of the second inning. It
It's definitely a
was,
tough one.
yeah, it was tough. Because I'm all excited. I'm like, we went down with some friends of ours, and I mean, Jared. Jared loves himself Hwan Bae because he went to opening day with us. He's not a Pirates fan. I think he might be becoming one. He doesn't really have a team. He's the head baseball coach at the university here, so he's a basketball guy.
Head basketball
I said baseball,
coach.
didn't I? He's the head
You did.
basketball coach. So he's a basketball guy. I even said he's a basketball guy. He's a basketball guy. Say it again. But he definitely knows baseball. He's watched a lot of baseball. He's played a lot of baseball, when he was younger. And so, like, a blast to go to the game with. He actually went to the Pirates game with me on Wednesday, too.
Yeah.
To which he blames the fact that they didn't play Hwan Bae. So Hwan Bae had a great opening day. He loves Bae. He loves the dynamic ability of Bae. I love that. So anyway, that's his guy. He clinged on to Saturday night to Miguel Andujar because he's like, did he play for the Yankees? I'm like, yeah. And I looked up his, 27 homers, the whole deal. And then every at bat after, he's like, this guy's a big leaguer. You know what I mean? He's like excited about it. This guy's, and he had a good game. And he was like, because he's a big leaguer. And he is one of those guys. And we know this about Andujar already, right? Mm-hmm. He's not cutting it at the major league level. We all know that. But we all know, too, that he's going to rake when he goes to AAA because he's still better than that. Yeah. He's one of those 4A players who just sits in the, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And we know that those guys exist. Andujar is one of those guys. And so he had a good game, but it was fun. But I was talking Priester up. We got the aces going tonight. Gavin Williams was going for Columbus. The dude he's awesome. And Cleveland does that, right? They do pitching well. That's what they do. Savali pitched this week. Gavin Williams and the other one, Tristan McKenzie pitched on Thursday. I didn't go to that game, but Tristan McKenzie pitched. But, dude, like, 100 just throwing cheese. He's good. And I was really excited to see Quinn Priester match up against him. He got out of the first inning, which didn't look great. He got out of the first inning with just one run. And I thought, all right, settle in. You're good. And the wheels fell off. He ends the night 5 earned runs, but he ends the night 8 runs. After 6 runs, he went off the field. It was a 6-0 game. Then they brought in what's his name, Zamora, who walks the first 2 guys. Bases were already loaded, so he walks in the other 2 runs.
Yeah,
8 runs when it's all said and done. 5 of them earned on just 4 hits. He balked a run in at one point. 6 walks, 3 strikeouts, 1 2/3. Obviously, gets a rough outing when he was in the middle of a great May. You want to know how great his May was? 2.81 ERA in May, with that start considered.
Jeez,
he had a 1.13. So I was very excited to see him. So if you're wondering what Quinn Priester has to work on, it's probably avoiding that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's had a couple of those this year. He had 2 straight starts at the end of April where he gave up 4 runs. His first start of the season, April 4th, he gave up 6 runs. In between all of that, it's 1 run, 2 runs, 0 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, 0 runs, right? So when you don't have your good stuff, can you still be effective? Right. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, he's not a great pitcher because he doesn't have good stuff all the time. None of them do.
Right.
Mitch Keller didn't have his good stuff this week either.
Right.
And, I mean, he gave up 6 runs. So maybe he didn't pitch around it. But he has before not had his good stuff and yet been somewhat effective.
Yeah.
The good pitchers figure out how to pitch when they don't have their stuff.
Right.
I think that's the thing we want to see Priester do before we go calling him up, because he didn't have. I mean, we're talking ugly. Keller didn't have his stuff the other day. He should have been 6 innings, 4 runs. He shouldn't have went back out there, but he only had 1 walk, and he had 8 strikeouts. Right? His second walk of the night came when he went back out in the 7th. So Keller's best stuff is 4 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. He still figured out how to get it done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? 4 runs isn't ideal, but he was still effective. This is a flip-flop. This is 6 walks, 3 runs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
doubled his season high in walks. Just didn't have it. I was pretty bummed about that. He's going to be fine. Bad outing.
Sure.
Bad outing. 22 years old. He'll be 23 at the end of this year. He's got a full season to figure this out. Give him that time.
Yeah, and he's got to fail sometimes in order to learn.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure out how to pitch when you don't have your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. So, kind of bummed about that. Is that everything? Did we cover everything? We're getting close to the hour here, and I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yep. So we got the Giants coming into town, guys. Thanks for listening. This was a fun one to do because we had a lot to say. We had a lot to say today. What do you got on the Giants here? We got some notes, stuff on the notes there. Go ahead and read them off.
Sure. Giants are 27-26 on the season. They're in 3rd place behind LA and Arizona in the West. They are playing pretty well right now. They're 7-3 in the last 10 games, but a -1 run differential.
On the season. -1 run differential.
That's on the season?
That's on the season.
That's on the season? Okay. So, yeah, they're playing well right now. 7-3 in the last 10. So, we got on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We got Hill on the mound versus Anthony DeSclafani. Sclafani's pitching to a 3-4 record with a 3.42 ERA.
We got this one in the bag,
you
though.
You said we got this one in the bag.
It's the first game of the series. We got in the bag.
Yeah. We're going to win that one. We got Oviedo on Tuesday, 9:45 start for the Eastern time zone, folks.
That's right.
Oviedo versus TBD. So
he's
we're
good.
Not sure who they're throwing
he's
yet.
Good. He has no ERA so far.
Right. 0. The dude's nasty. So we're going to lose that game. Now, sorry, guys. We are frustrated that we're doing this 1 win and 2 losses thing.
Yeah.
Then we got the Keller game, the must win. Alex Wood, 1-0 with a 3.51 in 6 starts this year so far. So, got that lefty lineup again for game 3. Didn't pan out against the Mariners, but let's hope we have better luck against the Giants.
That's right.
And that's a 3:45 start Eastern. This should be an interesting one. They're playing well right now, but I think they're a very beatable team. So
yeah, I'm there. If you do get game 1, man, your recipe is Keller to get the series.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In your getaway day, you get the series there. 4 times, we said this earlier, 4 times this month we've won the first game and lost the last 2. The last 3 series we've done that. In the middle of all that, we had the 2 where we won the last game of the series. Let's not make that this one, right?
Right.
We're winning when Keller's on the mound most of the time. So that's a good thing. I like the fact that we can finish a series with that. If we could just, once again, steal one of those first 2 games, this has happened before, and with Keller on the mound, we weren't able to make it happen.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. Beat the Giants. We will not. I don't believe we'll see Webb. On the TBD game. I don't know who we'll see, but I don't think it's going to be their top guy.
Right.
So,
if it was him, he'd be in.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, if it was him, we'd know it was him.
Right.
I don't know when he pitched. I actually didn't look that up this time, but I don't know. Yeah, beat the Giants. I don't really have anything else.
Yeah.
The frustration of this is your last chance. We have not won a series yet in May. This is your last chance. Also, if you get swept, we hit 20 losses for the month. So we're at 17 losses for the month right now. We've undid everything. We are back to 500 baseball. So we've undid everything. I figured we would. just not in 1 month.
Right. Right. No, I figure. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yep. All right, guys. We will talk to you again on Friday. But in the meantime, beat the Giants.
Keller get a nice bounce back. That's what we're looking for.
That's right. All right, guys. We'll talk to you again on Friday. Let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks!